While the internet raged with competing theories over yesterday's eclipse, was it a direct sign of the world's imminent end? Was it a warning about some red heifers in the Holy Land? Was it something else? While all that idle chatter was going on, The View's Sonny Hostin came up with the obvious answer. The eclipse was caused by climate change.
We've got a solar eclipse. We've got the earthquake. She ran down the hallway.
The rapture is here.
The rapture's here. And then also I learned that the cicadas are coming.
Cicadas.
Cicadas.
Although I love
for the first time in like
No.
100 years.
No.
Two different. Well, this is what I read.
There's two different kinds of cicadas.
Yes, two different times are coming.
The good cicadas and the bad
But
cicadas.
for the first time in many, many years.
No, every 17 years this happens.
Well, that's not what I read, but maybe you know better. But
in a
will
way,
say all those things together would maybe lead one to believe that either climate change exists,
That's more
or
the
something
point.
is really
Except
going
Earth is
on.
returning.
Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground.
It happens,
How about the warming of the
and
planet?
the eclipse, they've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when these things are going to happen. So all these folks who are saying, it's a sign from God, God doesn't give you warning.
Well, hold on. Whoopi was actually being the voice of reason there until right at the very end, when she said, God does not give you warning. He does. He does. He gave a warning to Noah, for instance, with the ark. He gave a warning to Lot about Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed. He gave a warning. He gives a warning through his prophets, Jonah and Nineveh. He gives warnings. But other than that minor theological error, Whoopi Goldberg is the voice of reason on The View. That is a very sad thing to say about The View because her co-host, Sonny Hostin, doesn't know what a cicada is, got the story about the cicadas wrong, and then I guess more importantly, thought that earthquakes and an eclipse of the sun are caused by climate change because you drive your Hummer around, because you have a big Ford Raptor. The gas has made it all the way up past the atmosphere into outer space. It's coalesced and then pushed the moon off its course so that it will block the sun for like 4 minutes once every 700 years. If you thought that religious eschatology sounded crazy, the heifers and the end of the world if you thought that, well, just wait until you hear secular eschatology. We have a lot of Muslims in Michigan, specifically in Dearborn, Michigan, and some of them are chanting death to America.
We've been asked in the past, why are our protests on the International Day of Quds, why are they so anti-America? Why don't we just focus more on Israel and not talk so much about America? Gaza has shown the entire world why these protests are so anti-America. Because it's the United States government that provides the funds for all of the atrocities that we just heard about. And this is why Imam Khomeini, who declared the International Day of Quds, this is why he would say to pour all of your chants and all of your shouts upon the head of America.
Means death to America. I don't speak Arabic, but that's the translation.
Malcolm X said, and I quote, "We live in one of the rottenest countries that has ever existed on this earth. It's not Genocide Joe that has to go. It's the entire system that has to go."
We live in one of the rottenest places on earth. His English is pretty good for a guy who hates America so much. He sounds fairly American. I don't know if this guy is an immigrant himself. He sounds more like second generation. He sounds more like a guy who was raised here and is maybe trying to prove his cultural bona fides. This is the problem with mass migration. It's not even really a problem specific to the Muslims. It's a broader problem when you flood the country with people who are not from here, who have totally different loyalties and long-standing feuds and antagonisms and cultural practices and religion and all the rest of it. When you just flood them into a new country and then you don't encourage them to assimilate, you actually discourage assimilation. Well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get people who say death to America, death to America. We're told that anyone can become an American. The moment you come here, as long as you read a poem on the Statue of Liberty and you believe in freedom in the abstract, then you're an American. I don't believe that, obviously, but the liberals seem to think that. How is this guy an American? He chants death to America, or he at least addresses a political rally where death to America is being chanted. He says America is the rottenest country on earth. He says we need to stop focusing so much on Israel and just focus more on America, how terrible it is. He's got the flag of a different country behind him. He's believes in a religion that is not the religion that built up America. He so much so that he opposes America. In fact, how's he an American? What's American about him? The one thing that is really American about him is how much he hates America. Yes, that's the one thing. Because in this guy's defense, and in defense of the Muslims and even the pro-Palestine liberation people, he doesn't sound all that much different from a college leftist in America. And in fact, who does he quote? Is he quoting, the Ayatollah? Is he quoting Saeed Qutb? Is he quoting Osama bin Laden? No, he's quoting Malcolm X. He's quoting a black power leader in America who also said all these terrible things, who was also sort of Muslim. He was kind of like the weird version of Muslim, not the Arab version of Muslim, but the like American black version of Muslim. But in any case, very unfortunate. And you might stem the problem by severely restricting immigration, which most Americans want to do. You might help to solve the problem by encouraging greater assimilation of the people who move here and splitting up some of the enclaves. So, if 100,000 Muslims from wherever this guy's family's from move to America and they settle all throughout the country, that is going to encourage assimilation more than if they all settle in Dearborn, Michigan and have greater access to organizing their Death to America rallies, right? So you could do that. But none of these things are going to totally solve the problem. And you got to solve the Malcolm X problem, because you got to solve the radical American leftist problem. You got to, and the way you're going to solve that problem is by defining with limits what it means to be an American. If right now being an American is just whatever you want, man, it's kind of like the of patriotism. If you say you're an American, you're an American. And I need to affirm your identity that you're not. There's actually some limits. You got to act a certain way. You got to talk a certain way. You got to believe a certain way. You've got to have certain legal, on top of that, you need to have certain legal status. You need to be an American citizen. You need to be within certain borders. You need to eat hot dogs on the 4th of July, and you got to like fireworks, and you got to watch the Yankees. Okay. To be an American means a thing that is not just floating in outer space. It is part of incarnate life that moves through time and space and history, and has not just an individual, but a community aspect. You got to have bonds, ties of friendship and kinship, one hopes, to other Americans. That's what you got to do. And until we do that, we are going to lose. The patriots and the conservatives are going to lose on this issue, just as we've lost on the issue. If we can't define what a man is, if we can't define what a woman is, if we can't define what a marriage is, if we can't define any of these things, then we're going to keep losing on the issue. And if you can't define what an American is, you're going to lose on that issue too. Man, that was a great clip. Now, hold up, ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.